The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Subaru Productions. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Tokutalk. Marcus Jacob here to discuss Rivals.
Yes, we talked about villains, but let's get a little bit more personal, up and close and intimate on this interview. Shimmy with happiness. Sorry, we just finished talking about Dawn Brothers, and I'm just like, there's the joy.
We're in a good mood.
But yeah, Rivals. Do you have any that stand out to you immediately?
Well, I hate to bring up what we just talked about.
One of us is going to.
Well, one of us is going to, and I think there's a good reason for it. It's Taro and Sonoy from Dawn Brothers.
Word. Rivals to lovers. That's the trope.
That's the tag. Tag it. It's there.
It's very on AO3 over here. It feels very much so that. If only because their relationship grew into being, rival. They were friends first before they found out who the other was. Mm-hmm. And then even after, it really complicated the relationship a lot because they were having to, I guess, reconcile their feelings towards each other. Mm-hmm. Especially on Sonoy's end because Taro's a little bit stunted.
He's a little bit Taro.
Yeah.
A lot bit Taro.
It's sort of the problem. But, their relationship just grew over the course of the show. There was one moment, I think it was the episode after Sonoy came back from being dead, as you do. And they're at the udon shop, and Sonoy just sitting... Yeah. Oh, was it Oden?
It's Oden.
Oh.
Udon is the noodles.
That's true. It's been a long day.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Sonoy comes into the Oden stall and sits beside Taro on the other, and like both teams are on the side of each other. And Sonoy just smiles at Taro, and Taro, like the look at his face is something I've experienced so hard. It's that moment of gay panic. It's really that moment of gay panic. We're just like, oh no, he's hot. Because the look on Taro's face, it's like wide-eyed. He just doesn't know what to do. And you can tell that
if those baby blue eyes smiled at you, what would you do?
Taro panicked. I think this is the first time that he honestly just did not know what to do with himself.
Yeah.
So the look on his face is so accurate. I'm sitting here like, oh no, he's me. Oh, but I do love their rivalry. I love their friendship. I love their relationship. I love the fights that they had because they'll still fight, but it never feels like legitimately out of the first couple of times. Then after they find out who each other are, even them killing each other never feels malicious.
Yeah, it just feels like they both feel like this is a natural conclusion for where this is gonna go.
Yeah.
While we are on the sideline chanting, "Now kiss."
There was also a thing that we forgot to mention. We forgot a couple things just about the relationship. When Taro comes back, after he's, basically suicides and phoenixes himself at the end of the show, he has the white rabbit on his chest, which I believe is like a symbol of rebirth.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Or just like new beginnings or something like that.
So who knows where this will lead to in the sequel. By that I mean the movie that's coming up.
Give us a full sequel. Mm-hmm. Or give us like a V-cinema of just the two of them. We don't need anybody else.
Just go on a date.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
It'd be great.
What's another rivalry that really sticks out to you?
Black and... Why am I blanking on his name? From Kamen Rider Black.
Oh.
Shadow Moon,
yes. The brothers.
Yes. The personal between those two is off the charts right now. Mm-hmm. My God. Especially because it is the ending of this show. It's the culmination of everything that happened beforehand. Mm-hmm. And just, I guess how it felt spiteful between the two of them. Because, Shadow Moon being, a little bit brainwashed throughout this.
Yeah.
Trying to become the next king.
Brainwashed and becoming into that, and then it ultimately comes to the end where because he knows who he is.
Yeah.
But because he's been indoctrinated by the evil organization's ideals,
Gorum,
that he's been indoctrinated by them, and then at the end when he does get killed by Black, and it's like, well, you killed me, but you also killed your brother.
Yeah.
Have fun with the rest of your life.
And this shows up in the Kamen Rider Black from last year, Black Sun.
Yeah, Black Sun. Black Sun was one that I was going to mention as well, because when you think about rivalries in Toku, most of the time it is like we said, it's like in the beginning of Taro and Sonoi's in the beginning there was darkness, and of Taro and Sonoi's relationship, where it is that two sides of the same coin competing with each other to either be the best in their craft or be the best at something, or to one up each other on a personal level. In something like Kamen Rider Black Sun, they really explore that into political ideations, political rivals, and rivals of ideologies, as opposed to just I'm a better fighter than you.
Especially because they'll occasionally work together in that show. So, hey. If it works and it's compelling enough, I think that's the thing that...
I certainly think it was in this one.
A rivalry really just needs. And I think that's what made him coming back in Black RH seem like a slap in the face. Because why?
Who knows?
Yeah. Another one. A personal favorite of mine. Enter and Red Buster, Hiromu.
Okay.
Because I've occasionally just rewatched this entire scene where Red Buster finds out that he has that card inside of him that will constantly bring Enter back. So he's like, what about suicide? And Enter shows up out of nowhere. He's like, what about coma? Okay. That's what I'll put you in.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, that's what we're doing today.
No me without you.
Yeah.
So I will make sure there is always a you.
Yeah. That's pretty much exactly what he does. There is always going to be a you, and there's nothing you could do about it. But then them leading to that fight off of the building and flashing everywhere and volcanic attacks and everything, I think that entire scene just done really well. And I think just the pure contempt that Red Buster has for him, and Enter just basically playing with him the entire time. It's sort of messed. It actually just straight up is messed up, because we know what Enter is planning. And we know what he did not allow Hiromu to do. God, so good.
One that I would like to bring up, Gar VR.
Oh,
In the way that we have multiple entities, in this case we have like Kwon and the bottle and everyone else, and we have everyone competing in this game.
Yeah.
To win the game. They are all, like, everyone is everyone's rival, but at the same time, you have Kwon especially, he doesn't want to see anyone die. I want to try and keep everyone safe as much as I can, but you've got Azami, who's always twisting things and killing Joe from Live Man and doing all the other horrible things that she does just to manipulate everyone. It's like, no, you are going to fight each other. I'm going to brainwash this person and turn them into something that they're not, so that you will have to kill them.
Yeah.
And it's a forced rivalry. It's not, I don't want to kill you, but at the end of the day, there can be only one.
Yeah, this has to happen. Rip. Honestly, I think we could talk about 3/5 of Live Man.
We could.
Joe ends up feeling sorry for, I can't remember Dr. Obelar's actual name, but he was the only one who did not kill anybody, so Joe was willing to really, save him. Yeah. I think more than anybody else out of the three. He really wanted to save him, and even when he betrayed him, Joe still ended up believing in him, which paid off later on when he ends up escaping from Volt. Mazinda and Blue Dolphin.
Mazinda, I would also say, I would also put not Professor BS, Dr. Kemp.
Yeah.
Dr. Kemp, in the sense that he always wanted to be the best for Biasama, and how that played into his own personal rivalry with his own
Red Falcon,
with his own teammates, and also with Red Falcon of I have to be the best, I have to be better than my comrades, but also better than the heroes.
Yeah, I think, like I said, just 3/5, because they basically, the first three had a counterpart on the other team. I think for
and the other two shut up.
I think for Joe and Obelar, I think it amounted down to trust and belief in him. For Red Falcon and Dr. Kemp, it really boiled down to betrayal, and at the end it's sorrow, because we saw what Dr. Kemp ended up becoming, and I think that sort of reflected also in Mazinda and Blue Dolphin, where you see these two, they all have parallels within each other, but I think for Blue Dolphin, it's just I can't believe that you went this far, turning yourself into a cyborg or an android for the most part, at the end of the show and, end up having yourself killed. Because you were trying to get away and, they tried to help them. But the only one that they could really help was Obelar. Nobody else could be saved in that show. One, because of their own choice. Two, because the other one, because Dr. Kemp went insane. And he got his brain taken.
Yeah,
so,
that happens.
Yeah, so what you do.
I think another one that I think needs mentioning, Ryuki. Kamen Rider Ryuki. Specifically, it's protagonist and deuteragonist with Ryuki and Knight. The way that, because it's another one where we have a death game going on.
Yeah.
Douse the other riders, Tatsukai them to death, and Tatsukai them to death.
Tatsukai them to death.
Exactly.
True though. It's so true.
And the way Ryuki is looking at this, horrible situation that he's been thrust in, but he's still trying to make the best of it and use it to become a hero.
Yeah.
I can use this to actually pick my schlub self up off the ground, and I can do some good in the world. And then you have Knight, who is, because they do have to compete for killing monsters because they have to keep their monsters that are giving them their powers sated, or else they will eat them.
Yeah, that's true. True thing.
Because that will happen. And, we each have to do our own thing, but I want to do it for heroic reasons, and then Knight is in it for selfish reasons. But, as they, clash with each other and with, other riders throughout the course of the show, eventually Knight does wind up changing more by the end as a result of the relationship. Another example of that, I think, is O's with AG and Ankh. I would consider it something of like a what's the word I'm looking for? It does feel a bit of a rivalry, especially once Ankh is able to gain his full body again. It's like I'm tired of relying on you, because he's in it, Ankh is in a position where he's not used to relying on people.
Yeah.
He's agreed, I'm a monster, I take what I want, and I get what I want. And then all of a sudden, I'm a disembodied arm, and I can't do anything, so I have to A, possess somebody, and then B, I have to rely on this loser to get my medals for me so that I can grow to full power. And, eventually he does get that power back, and, their relationship becomes more antagonistic, and he realizes, wait, I think it was working the other way better. It's what is this strange feeling I'm feeling?
I want to bring up mostly this one because it's a little bit more one-sided, but only on one person's part. And that is Emu and Peridot from X8.
Okay.
Peridot is the other half of him.
Yes.
He's the gamer.
He's the genius gamer.
Yes. And he has such an issue with Emu not going as far as he thinks he should. But Emu is just you're putting people in danger. There are lives at stake here. Mm-hmm. And the way that ended up culminating after Emu ends up getting Mugen. Mm-hmm. Not Mugen. Muteki.
Right.
Mugen is Ghost. But yeah, after he ends up getting Muteki, and there's that whole scene in the pool when they're fighting. The pool on top of the roof. Yeah. And it was just you gonna learn today. Because that scene of Peridot trying to get away after Emu starts
He tries to teleport away and he grabs him and says, nah.
Grabs him and brings him back to where they were, and then the whole scene of him being pushed into the pool. Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
Some of the best imagery in Toku where he's drowning underwater and then the hand reaches in and pulls him out when they're finally able to reconcile with each other.
I think the last one I sort of want to bring up, just for me. I feel like we could bring up Booba and Change Dragon, but it's not as much from there. You could also end up saying Guy and Gray. But for a more recent one, Bosco and Marvelous.
Yeah, that's a good one. Mavi-chan.
And, their whole past with Aka Red and then Bosco betraying them and leading into that last fight after the other Gokaijus were beaten. And then the foot stab into the gun and giant explosion. The only one who ends up coming out of it alive is Marvelous.
I think Bosco and Marvelous might be the best example of your classic shonen rivalry. Yeah. In terms of the good and evil diametric opposition.
I wouldn't even call it just shonen. I would think it's really literary in its own way, where you've seen things like this happen in episodes and things beforehand. So
True enough.
I think it's sort of classic.
I'm thinking more in like context of like the culture in which it is presented.
I just think
it's the way we see it most.
I just think it's really classic because it's portrayed in a lot of things.
Yeah, true enough. But yeah, in terms of like, I'm the good guy, you're the bad guy. We came from similar backgrounds, but only one of us is going to be standing at the end. Yeah. At the end of the story by the time the final page turns.
Pretty much. Love to see it.
Love to see it done well.
Yeah, I don't have any other ones.
Yeah, I think that'll do it.
I mentioned some of the short. These are the ones that just really stood out, I guess, the most to us. Like we said, we could have talked about Change Dragon and Booba, but that only really culminates once. You could talk about Gray and Black Condor, and they do have a couple of things together, but I don't think it's as strong as some other ones.
In Toku, usually when we're talking about rivalries, it rarely does seem to be one person against one person. It's always like this team against the evil organization. Yeah. It's this Kamen Rider against the bad guys. It's Ultraman against the monster. But so rare. I mean, I think Dawn Brothers so exemplifies this of what happens when we take, because it's not just them, but also when you have Inuzuka and Sononi and Sonoza and Haruka, and the way their relationships come together, how they start off antagonistic and eventually they grow into something more friendly. It's one of the first ones to really say, well, what if it wasn't just bad versus good? What if it wasn't just team against evil? And we bring it down to a much more personal level. Yeah. Which is something that they don't do often.
And I think that's what made... I remember when this show came out, and to be fair, we were rightly worried after Inoue's writing for all of the writer that he's done over the past several whiles. We weren't exactly the most positive, but man, at the end of the day, did we end up loving this show, and that says something. This came out the other day that originally he wanted to have like 50 Cerebrans show up at the end of the show, and I'm just like, how? But I'm happy they didn't do it.
What Sentai actors can we get back?
What Sentai actors can we get back? What other Toei shows is there to rip off of?
Yeah.
I love it. Or to reference, I should say. But yeah, rivalries are fun. And I hope that King Osier, if they do one, I hope that it's good.
I mean, they've certainly got the groundwork for it. Because if you're talking multiple kingdoms, where we have political rivals, but also, rivals on the team, on the hero level.
Yeah, and especially with Red not being a true king, he's more of a false one, apparently. I'm excited. Tentatively. It's just like, I'm not going to reach that high of Dawn Brothers again.
I mean, we don't know. We haven't seen the show yet.
Oh.
Who knows?
Genma, not Genma. I was going to talk about him, but I mean, we also got one going on in Geats right now with Buffett and Geats. That's not over yet, so we'll see how it goes.
Maybe well.
But yeah. Don't forget to join us on all the things. Tell us what your favorite rivalry is in the comments below.
Let's do.
Don't forget to join us on all the things. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching.